fund, or this is the roads. Carryover balance of $2,494,000. We expect approximately $339 to come in as revenues, and that's where I gave that number to you, of close to $3 million in our impact fees. The $920,000, we're gonna need to modify that. We're not going to see that. We don't anticipate that grant of $920,000 coming this year. Probably next year.
What's your page again?
23.
23. Okay, sorry.
That's right. So this $920,000 that's down here for the August 3rd meeting, we're gonna pull that out. Doesn't really change any. I mean, it will change the numbers, but that's money, the grant money that would come in and would also be spent on grants. So it's kind of a wash. So just we'll pull that out.
Are you gonna pull the total?
Yeah, for this year.
Do you have any other grant money coming in?
I pulled the project and didn't pull the revenue.
Then we're okay. Okay, that's fair. And can we show, because of all of my time in Boise, enjoying the opportunity to be able to talk with officials, can we show the $249,798 and the $339,475 as allocated to a project? Not just as sitting in a fund?
They are allocated to a project if you look at the next page.
See, you're way better than me. Thank you.
So page 24 shows the projects we're looking at. The number one project there is the Honeysuckle and 4th roundabout. That project has been designed and is ready to go.
We have like 90% plans right now.
Yeah, and Alan and I talked, the environmental was something we were waiting for, and we thought that was back. Have you heard? What do you think?
That was on Government Way and Miles, I think.
Oh.
We've got too many.
So we got a lot of irons of fire, but anyways,
Not yet.
it will be done. This was actually a project that has worked very well, and so it's moved up as far as construction. It's been received very positively out there by the folks that are out there, so there shouldn't be any issues. So we've got $1,150,000 for that project, and then we've got money for design of Hayden and Ramsey and Hayden and Atlas. We're showing that a fund balance carry forward now. I think of that $2 million. Now, when we take the 920 off, it's going to be less than that. But I think to get to your question, one of the things we could do is when we get to the CIP, there's those projects, and we could designate projects and spend this several times over.
I mean, that was a big issue, just unallocated fund.
It's not unallocated, it's on the CIP.
We're trying our best.
It's covered.
I know. If we can do it in 4 different languages so that we're sure to understand.
So that's impact fee circulation fund. Parks is on page 25. Move that forward. So we have a little over $1 million. We should start this budget year. We're anticipating through growth, the impact fees that will come in, $254,000. And then also we anticipate this state grant. We've received kind of unofficial word. I haven't seen anything in writing yet, but that we got the grant for Crawford Park for $540,000, which will require us to also match that for around that same amount. But that would allow us to construct that additional 10 acres in the back, or most of that, for more of a sports park. So with the grant and everything else, about $2 million in the park impact fee fund. And you go to page 26. Went too far. Then it lists the projects that we have allocated for next year. Some of these are design work, public involvement work there. The Hayden Canyon Park, which is the 20 acres to the north, and a conceptual design. The Marks Ranch Park, that's the one where we were able to get that property for free from the highway district, and it's kind of that knoll that will be part of that subdivision, and so there's money in there to put a design to that park. Also put some money in primarily to help maintain the Stoddard barn improvements. Someday I hope we have enough money that we can do something cool with that barn. whether it's a farmer's market or something like that, but we've got pigeons, we've got some problems keeping pigeons and things out of there, and so we have some work we need to do just to maintain the building, and so we put 25,000 in there.
Turn the light, are the lights on all night?
It's not really wired in the barn.
I just want you, but if we turn off the lights, so the Lincoln Memorial had a deal, we finally figured out if you turn off the lights, then the bugs leave and the bats don't do their stuff. Yeah, it was hilarious. Harvard business
I
study.
think we have the bats and the bugs.
Well, I know,
I
but
think we got those right.
are the lights off at night?
Yeah.
Can it, okay, then we're okay, all right, thank you.
So there's money here for the Crawford Park design, the specific
Did
design.
Riley Krebs talk to you?
No.
Okay, we can talk after then, so there might be some other things, okay.
Okay, and then we left some money in there. I'm not sure what'll happen with that Maple Park property. But we left some money in there in hopes that we might be able to acquire the property that we've talked about. And then some money for Viking South Park property design. And then also we put some money in for the Honeysuckle Beach project. Again, we're not sure where it's gonna go, but we wanted to put something in there. We also put some money in the capital side, depending on what happens there. So showing expenditure of 802,000, and then left over about $1.2 million. So that's our impact fee parks. Those are dollars that come from building development, and we're in the process of updating those fees as well. Law enforcement fund, we still have about 60,000 in there. Again, we're not currently collecting. We do have a project that we're looking to see whether or not the funds could be used to house the boat out at Honeysuckle with the county. If we do that, we'd have to modify the plan to put that in there, and then we might be able to spend those funds. So we've been trying to find a capital project that we can spend that, so we don't have to refund it. More work will be done on that. So, all right, that's it on impact fees. Just moving quickly to the sewer fund, because we've hit all the other minor general fund items. So if you could go to page 39.
One with the big numbers.
So this is the O&M, the operation and maintenance section of our sewer. When you look at this, we've got a fund balance carryover of 2.8 million. We have sewer charges, we're estimating about 4 million to come in, and one side note here on this, if you recall, when FCS did our study, they did a study out 5 years for increasing our sewer fees. And this would be the 3rd year of that if you choose to do so. Back a couple years ago, you decided you wanted to increase those each year. Suggestion might be, because it's a plan, you'd still have to approve it each year in the budget, but you could approve the remaining years that are in the FCS plan, so that.
Yeah, but for the record, we didn't want to increase it to the end level and just keep it. We wanted to be able to make sure that the public could save, if it's $4 every
Yep.
2 months or $6. So we knew the plan. Are we close to being even? If
We're
we,
close, but we're not there yet.
okay,
We won't be there this year.
okay.
We're still digging ourselves out of the hole that we made for ourselves.
Alright.
We didn't do this for 3 years.
Okay, but we've got enough, this year we're okay, but we're still behind. When do we have to make the other payments?
When they start construction next year, I think.
That's what I thought,
Start
okay.
making payments on the
Okay.
new loan.
So are we 2 years away from even? Do you think? I know that that's an unfair question.
I'm not sure, I have a spreadsheet that they have me fill out every month, so
Okay.
I know we're not even.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Cindy. Okay.
2 years we will, have paid off the amount we had, budgeted for the, lawsuit though. And then.
It drops come back, but they're still increased.
Yeah, it
No, I.
allows that increase to be less.
Okay.
So if we do that, we have to have a public hearing because it's more than 5%. And so if the direction is to do that, we'd probably set that up for August or September, October, somewhere in there. We did include that,
In August,
we did include it in this budget.
yes, it is included in the budget beginning in September, so we need to have the hearing in August.
Okay.
So any thoughts on that moving forward with that stepped increase front that FCS had done in our study for?
Is the 24th okay? If we do August 24th?
We'll do the budget public hearing that day.
That's, I mean, we could do, just do both.
We do both?
Yeah.
Okay, as we go through here, just let me know if you have any other questions. We're showing about approximately a little over 7 million in revenue for operations and maintenance. If you go to the next page, we start into the expenditures. The big number there is the HARB's O&M fees. That's almost 3 million. That's for the treatment plant, our portion to pay for the treatment plant. And then the rest you go through here, there's not anything that's outstanding. There's dollars for lift station, electrical costs, maintenance of pumps, those types of things. It's listed by utility, so I won't go in detail there. Then you come to the end, on page 42, sorry, so you can see here appropriations for lift stations, and the different, areas. On page 42 here, down at the bottom where it's got the 526 and the 180, the transfers out, that's basically money going out to the fund that pays on the current loans that were from phase 1 of the construction costs at the sewer wastewater treatment plant. And so when we do go to phase 2 and start paying, those numbers will go up, but that's currently what it is. And so anyways, any questions on, that's O&M. The next one is page 43 is our capitalization fees. This is the monies that we can use to add on to the system, to add capacity to the system. So on page 43, we're showing we have a fund balance carryover of about 3.6 million. And this is where, and we talked about this in the last meeting, there's $1 million here. This is the ARPA money, the American Rescue Plan Act money. And actually, Sandy and I were talking about this today, that when we bring it to August 3rd, we're gonna, actually on this one we're not, but the carryover is there'll actually be $2 million that we're putting into the sewer fund, because if you recall on the ARPA money, it's sewer, the major projects are sewer, water, and broadband. And we don't have a huge need on the broadband, we don't do water, and so sewers where we're trying to utilize these funds, and we're showing that the money's coming in here. We don't have specifically a project designated, although we talked about it, using it for H6 and Ramsey Road, that area, which will be great, so that's why we put that in here. When you go down here, you'll see where it says capacity sold, those ones that say HARBs, those are dollars that are transferred. Basically, when a developer comes in, a portion comes to the city for our circulation system, and a part goes for the treatment plant. The HARBs portion is transferred to them. And then also the revenue, this one, we remind you every year, when you see the treatment plant expansion, the 3.960 million, that's not cash that we have. The auditor says we have to put that in there. That is basically authority that was approved by election years ago, and that authority's still there, and the auditor says it has to be included. So that's why it is in there. Going on to the Capitalization Fund, you can see where the harvest money is transferred out. It's about $1.2 million. And again, those are estimates based on the number we have on the growth that we anticipate. There you can see the 3960 just basically listed there. Revenue bond treatment plant, we don't have a specific project but we have to list it that way to match up revenues and expenditures. And then you see the projects that we're looking at: Ramsey Road Sewer, 24 main inch design, construction, Ramsey Road Sewer Dakota design, right-of-way acquisition that we have some in there, Ramsey Road Sewer Dakota construction. So those are the projects are listed with the carryover of $1.2 million. All right, let's go to the next page, because I'm beyond my 15 minutes. This is the bond fund. This is where the dollars, where we're paying off our loans, it goes in here and it's paid out of this as a separate fund. So you can see the revenues being transferred in. On the next page is where they're, basically the bond principal, bond interest are being paid. And then we also have to accumulate and keep some extra money in there according to the loan documents. And so there's a little bit extra in there too, as far as appropriations. Last one is the asset replacement. This is the one where we're transferring out of the operations and maintenance the extra carryover that we've determined to cover cash depreciation. So we're trying to put a fund in, the money in a fund, and keep that cash there to do projects on our circulation system, instead of just at some point when we have a problem, we don't have any cash, we have to go ask the
I
public.
never asked you that question. So a non-cash expense, we could recognize it as a municipality, depreciation? Didn't you just say that?
Well, it's different what we're doing here, we're funding replacement value for depreciation.
So we're just replacing depreciation with a dollar amount, offsetting it, so if it's a 5-year depreciable asset, we can replace it in 5 years. Okay.
There you go, you got it, that's it. Because most cities, I would say 3/4 cities don't do this.
No.
So we're trying to put, and actually, we're not doing it 100%. We're trying to put some cash in to help with these projects, so. All right, that's beyond 15 minutes, but that takes us through the entire budget as far as going through the first time, and if we have any questions, we can look at that. We'll come back on the August 3rd meeting. We're gonna ask for a final draft approval that we then can publish, and then August 24th is when we would have a public hearing. So that's the process. I think we feel good with this budget. We've been conservative in our estimates.
Sandy, this is phenomenal, and Brett, you too, because I know. Thank you. Because I don't lose sleep on this one, so.
The
Well-
overall budget is going up quite a bit. Please recognize that the ARPA money comes in and goes out of several funds.
Okay.
So
It's one-time money.
and it's gonna impact the overall bottom line. It's gonna look like the budget is going way up. It's really not. But it comes in as it's an income in 110, it's an expense in 110, it comes into 130, it comes into 211. So it shows multiple times.
Yeah, but it was a
In
great
the budget.
blessing.
It
I mean,
is, it
So
is.
that's
We
an
have to
answer
be
to prayer
smart
for
about
some of our one-time expense.
So it isn't just total of 3 point whatever million, you're saying it's multiples of that?
There's multiples of it because of how
Okay.
it comes in and is transferred.
Okay.
I think
It's what we
look at
talked
it-
about last workshop, so a month ago, so.
When you see the total increase when we published the budget, I think it was a little 4 million was attributed to the ARPA money.
That's fine.
So just so you know, yeah.
And CIP went to 50 million from 55? Was it 55?
Yeah, it was 55, it's at 50 million. So that's what we wanna do next. Part of our budget actually is the, and I've asked Alan to kind of walk us through, the capital improvement, plan, so you should have a copy of that. Pull that up.
Was this part of your 15 minutes?
Nope, this is
This
not.
is Alan's.
This is Alan's, no. I think we can go through this, but these are the projects that we've worked on. Melissa and Alan spent a good amount of time putting this together to line it up, and we are required to have the CIP. And so when you listen to some of these projects, you'll see a lot of them don't need to happen right away, right?
So I'm gonna preface this with that, we had this all done, there were like 2 little changes. And I had those done, and this is kind of messed up, but I think, from looking at Sandy's budget, her budget's about right. The capital improvement plan got whacked somehow a little bit, but, these are the projects we're looking at, Maple Park, Viking South Park, Ramsey Road, sewer, Wyoming to Reed. We got, construction, that should actually be in 2023. But what should be here is right away, and it's not even in our capital improvement here.
It is, it's there.
No, that's Wyoming to Reed. It needs to be Wyoming to Lancaster right
Oh,
away.
on the other side, okay.
And I have not found, okay, Ramsey Road, Wyoming, Lancaster right away is in 2023. It needs to be in 2022. This one needs to go down. So I asked Brett to let me get this straightened out because we put a ton of work into it and we had it. And I'm just like,
You don't have to go over it now, then when it's done.
so I think we're just kind of spending time on
Yeah.
something that's not gonna be beneficial to you at
That's,
this
I mean,
point.
just when it's ready, let us know.
So,
Thank you, though.
and I apologize, I had one little change and I had that made and I didn't look at it again. Obviously, that one little change blew up, so,
Thanks,
No,
bud.
that's all right. They did spend a lot of time, most of these projects are correct. There's some timing issues that need to be moved around. So I would say that, I don't know, in looking at it, 90% of this is correct. And so you go through it for the projects. If you have questions on the projects, we'll bring it on August 3rd. So anyways, a lot of good time spent in putting this together. So you've got that. All right, I think that's, unless you have any questions, further questions, I think that's, we attached the CIP to the budget. It doesn't have to be there. We can have it separate. We like to just stick it with the budget. And then publish it that way.
Thank you.
Oh, all right, no questions. I think we're done.
Can you get the CIP though before, so the council and I have an opportunity to review the real
Yes.
one?
We'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I need a motion now to go to executive session, per Idaho Code 74-206, subset 1, subset D, to consider records that are exempt from disclosure as provided in chapter 1, title 74 of the Idaho Code.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please, Abby.
Council President Satterfield?
Yes.
Councilmember Roder?
Yes.
Councilmember Panabaker?
Yes.
And Councilmember Delang?
Yes.
Thank you, thanks for being here. You can now download or upload.